And happy holidays from Lawrence Institute. My name is Tammy and I'm one of the directors here at Life. Each holiday season we get lots of questions about setting our children up for success. So for today, I want to talk about some ideas and what that might look like. So one of the things we talk about first and foremost is when your child is doing something well, we want to make sure that we tell them. Make sure they know exactly what it is you're praising them for. A lot of times our children are a little more withdrawn, especially in large groups. Sometimes they're a little impulsive and they're, kind of getting into things we otherwise wouldn't want them to. But if they are doing well and they're sitting with the group or they're keeping their hands to themselves, make sure that we're telling them that you really appreciate sitting with the family. I appreciate you looking at the presents and not touching them. I appreciate you sitting with me and keeping your hands to yourself. We really want to make sure that when we're telling our children that, they're doing a good job, that they know exactly what they're doing a good job for. One of the things I do want to kind of remind you is make sure that you're talking to your family about the expected behaviors. So when a lot of us are either hosting a holiday event or we're attending a holiday event, we should be letting those people that are going to be in attendance know what they may see from your child. Unexpected behaviors can be really startling and they can increase the stress levels for both the host or the participants there. So we want to make sure that we're telling everybody involved what may happen. That's not to say it will, but that way everybody can kind of be prepared ahead of time. If you are the sole caretaker and you need help, make sure that you're asking for it. Make sure you're telling people, hey, if you see me start to X, make sure that, come check in on me. If I'm starting to look like I'm hyperventilating, come and, see if I need anything. Because if you are the person taking care of the child, you should have somebody that's offering to help take care of you. And those are things that you need to have before you enter that situation. You also want to talk about what battles you're going to have beforehand. Going into dinner is not the time to have the conversation about what are we going to have our child eat? What is the expectation today? Should they have their iPad at the table? Are they allowed to have toys? Or is it okay if they don't eat anything? Those are things that you want to have accomplished prior to that meal starting. Many people, these are kind of the things that fall to the wayside, right? We're cooking dinner, we're prepping, we're getting our house organized, we're getting bags organized if we're traveling. What are the other things that we need to have conversations about? So decide before you get to the event which things you're going to pick a battle on and which ones you're not. If all of the children are running around and not eating at the table, is it okay that your child is doing that too? Or vice versa. If everybody is sitting and eating at the table, is it okay that your child's not? What accommodations need to be made? But at dinner is not the time to have that conversation. And it's not just dinner. It's what activities are being planned, what participation is required, and which can we accommodate. Okay, I do want to talk about keeping stress levels low through keeping routines the same as possible. So if you can stick to your normal routine, I would try to. So for many of us, when we're traveling around the holidays, we have people visiting or we're going places, we really want to make sure that for our children who thrive in routines, that we're keeping as many of those as static as possible. So if you can keep our bedtime routine the same, if you can keep our morning routine the same, getting up, getting dressed, brushing our teeth, and all of that is the same as it normally is, maybe that's as close as you can get for the day, but that will help. If we are completely changing everything, we're going to see a little bit more of those unexpected behaviors. So if we're keeping in, we're going to keep up, we're going to get up at the same time, we're going to brush our teeth, we're going to get our hair done, we're going to wear the same clothes we always wear, then we have fewer stressors that we need to worry about. We do want to be as consistent as possible for the things we can control. Now with the holidays, there are lots of things like scheduling, activities, family is coming and going, friends are coming and going, people are bringing stuff over, people are dropping stuff off. It's a lot of how do we adjust for those things? And for our children, that's going to seem out of the norm and a little bit stressful. So we want to make sure that if we can keep a lot of those things the same, we are. The other thing is we want to be flexible about what we are okay with and what we're not. Is today the day you're going to fight them about getting out of their pajamas? Maybe today isn't that day. maybe that's not it. If you shower typically or you bathe typically at night and now you need to do it in the morning, is that something that you are going to pick a battle on? Or can you say, okay, we'll do it after everybody goes home? What is the flexibility that you have in your day? And what are those things that you're willing to let go of so that everybody can enjoy the holidays and feel successful? Our third tip is to prepare as much as possible. I know with all of the things happening around the holidays, a lot of it is we have to get, the food ready, we have to get the house ready, we have, travel plans, we got to get plane tickets, whatever that looks like. But giving your child as much information as you have is going to be really helpful for as much as they can handle. So for some individuals, it may be, I need a play-by-play of what we're doing, and I need you to consistently remind me what's happening next. For other individuals, it may just be, hey, this is the checklist of things that we got to get through today. So I kind of put an example up here on the screen. You can kind of peek at it. It's not listed by time, but it is listed by activity. So if your morning routine takes a half hour and that day it takes 45 minutes, that's okay. Is it, what play activities do you have? Well, I get other things ready. What does that situation look like for you and your family to try and make everybody as cohesive in the plan as possible? And this is a routine or a checklist that you may want to share with other people. Hey, family, we are coming over, but this is kind of the things we got to get through first. I can't guarantee a time. I know you want us there at 1 o'clock, but that's kind of when we have our quiet time, and we find that that's really valuable. So we're going to push it back a little bit. And those are things that if you're talking to people about and you're preparing ahead of time, there will be less stress about what is needed that day and making sure that you're at a specific place at a specific time, which may not be the day that you pick those fights. I did put some choices for independent play. One of the things we often get questions on is, can my child just sit and play while I'm doing other things? And if your child has those skills, absolutely. On the screen are some of the things that they can either bring with them or enjoy independently that require much less oversight. Obviously, be mindful of small pieces. If your child is one that continually puts things in their mouth, maybe Legos isn't the way to go, but it is things that you can travel and are pretty quick and easy to manage. It's also things ideally that if you do need to be by them while you're cooking, while you're wrapping presents, whatever the case may be, that is usually small and contained. So you can see like Wiki Sticks are a really good one. They're kind of waxy. They don't leave a residue, but they're manipulatable, which is really nice. Again, those things that you can kind of keep an eye on, but don't necessarily have to facilitate and don't require anybody else. I do want to make an announcement, just stress the importance of, guys, if your child uses an AAC for communication, whether that is a speech generating, whether that is a low-tech device, whatever the case may be, please make sure it's ready to go. One of the worst things we could do for our kids is put them in an unfamiliar situation and then not give them the ability to explain what they're feeling or have any method of communication to get their needs met. So please make sure that your vocabulary is preloaded, that you've added words that are relevant to the situation if need be. If you're using a low-tech device, make sure you're printing out any of those updated things. If it's, hey, grandma's house isn't typically something that's on here, but that's where we're going this time, I need a picture that's representative of that. If it's a, hey, we're doing this activity, we're going to the North Pole experience, we're doing whatever the case may be, is that there for both you to discuss with them and tell them, but also for them to discuss with you? We want to make sure that we're offering as many ways for our child to get their needs met as possible so that we are reducing any of those additional stressors. You also want to make sure that you're informing people that you'll be around that this is how your child communicates if they don't already know. So if your child is walking around with their iPad and they're kind of babbling through their words, explaining to people that this is how your child is learning their language will help take some of the fear away from why your child's just walking around not engaging. I know I get a lot of questions from parents about judgment of other people, and having that information out there ahead of time is a lot easier than trying to explain it in the moment. So if you're going to be at an event where you can tell people ahead of time, hey, my child communicates using a PEX board or a picture exchange, or they have this AAC device where the volume is kind of low, you have to really listen in. Giving that information ahead of time will relieve some of the stress both for you as a caretaker and the people around you that are hoping to help you. One of the other things I want to make sure you guys know is it's okay to have an exit strategy. It's actually more than okay. You should have an exit strategy. So what does this look like for me as a family member? What does this look like for me as a spouse or a significant other? What does this look like as a family of 5, 6, 7? What happens when one child is ready to leave but others are not? What happens if one child is overstimulated and the other ones are fine? Where do you draw the line to say, nope, everybody's leaving versus, nope, we're going to divide and conquer, versus, hey, I'm going to work through it with this one child, but everybody else can keep on keeping on. So as a group and as a family and as a support system, we should be having those conversations long before we find ourselves in that scenario. So if we're looking at it and we're saying, hey, we're going to do Christmas dinner, we're going to do Christmas gifts, and then we're going to do, whatever it is, looking at it and saying, okay, my child may not make it through dinner successfully or may not make it through the games successfully. What does that look like? And how do we divide and conquer that? Making sure that you're talking with your people and saying, hey, we need to leave and we need to step out, we'll be back. Or can somebody tap me so I can take a minute and breathe so that we can all enjoy the holidays? I really want to stress the importance of a successful holiday is not getting everything in. It's not making all the cookies perfect. It's not, opening gifts with everybody. It's making sure that everybody feels loved and supported and valued and that we do it together. So do not feel bad to advocate for your child, even if that means you have to leave early. Sometimes leaving makes the whole day more successful. It makes your child understand that when I'm in a spot where I can't continue, I have a support system, and that support system acknowledges that. So if you do have extra, events happening over the holidays and you're trying to figure out, what does this look like? Have that plan before you go. Hey, I would like to stay until X time. I would like to see if we can get X done. But if that's not happening, here's kind of what I think we should do, and come up with a plan on what that's going to look like I said, long before you enter that event. If you try and have those conversations in the moment, everybody's stress level is already high. So we want to make sure you have a plan before that. Some of the common questions I've gotten over the years is, what can I do to help my child understand gift giving and getting gifts? This is a really tricky one because most of the time you only get gifts that are wrapped like that generally twice a year, right around the winter holidays, and then again generally at your birthday. But if your child is an individual where unwrapping gifts is not something they're typically interested in, how do you help that? What I tell people is to start small. One, you don't want to wrap everything, and expect them to have these huge reactions for things that they might enjoy when it's a lot of effort to unwrap the gift and then wait for somebody to open it from the box and then wait for somebody to possibly add batteries, and I can't have it right away. So what I would recommend is starting before the event. Couple weeks before the event, start and say, okay, I'm going to put your favorite toy just open in this box, and I just want you to be able to reach in and get it. I want you to be able to maybe open up the lids of the box or take the toy out of the bag that has tissue paper in it. Super easy, low response effort tasks that immediately result in them gaining access to the thing that they like. And you can kind of build that up over time. So maybe this is the first year you're going to have them open gifts with everybody. Maybe it's okay, all of our stuff is already unwrapped, the batteries are already in it, and all you have to do is take it out of the actual Christmas bag, remove the paper. Maybe that's what it is this year. You can always help and support your child, but a lot of times it's hard to make the jump from this, really pretty decorated box to then I have to go through all the steps to open it. Waiting is very difficult, and understanding what it takes to get a toy set up might also be very difficult for your child. If that's the case, try and minimize that beforehand. Try and unwrap all the things that will have those pieces. I know with my daughter, it was a lot of, we're opening up Barbies that have 7 million pieces attached, but you have to undo each wire. She couldn't wait for that. So we undid it beforehand and we put the whole thing together in a littler box. So when she opened it, everything was readily available. That was much faster for her, and she was much quicker to want to open other boxes. Another question I got was, can a sibling open the gifts if my child seems uninterested, like they just don't care about it? And this is going to be dependent on the family. Some families are like, nope, those are their gifts. They'll open them when they're ready. Other families are like, yeah, sure, go ahead and open them and give them to him. It really depends on your child and what you think is best for your family. Do I think there's any harm in having a sibling open a gift for another sibling? No, I personally do not. As a clinician, I don't think there's an issue with it, as long as there's a clear defined moment where it is this is not the sibling's gift, this is the gift for your child. And then you can kind of say, hey, you're going to help me open this gift. We're going to sit together and we're going to do this. But if your child struggles with fine motor skills or attention where they don't really care and open it, just making sure that there is a moment where that transfer of ownership goes from the person who owns it to the person who actually opened the gift, or from the person who opened the gift to the person who actually owns the gift. The other thing I want to talk about is, what are the expectations I should hold? And again, this is very child specific. So for some families, this may be, I need to hold my child to all of the things, right? We are going to sit at the table. We're going to eat what I put in front of you. We're going to open and wait with our friends. We're going, and our family and our cousins or whomever is there. And for others, it might be like, nope, today is a day where I'm just going to try and keep you happy. And that's all we're going to do. So when you talk about expectations, what are the expectations you hold on the daily? Which ones do you really strongly value? And which ones can you let go of? Things like, we have a family tradition where every Christmas Eve, my parents buy matching pajamas for all the little kids, and they get to open it on Christmas Eve and put it on. But for the first year, when we had my daughter, the fabric that was chosen was not one that she was comfortable with. So we had to accommodate that. No, I'm not going to make you wear that, but we will edit for, or we will accommodate for similar colors based on what you already own. And that's okay. So making those accommodations for your child and for your family and advocating for them is important. But you have to decide which expectations you want to hold them to, and which expectations are just, yep, we'll work on that tomorrow. Today's not the day that I'm going to fight that. So I hope this is helpful. Again, these are just a couple little tidbits. As always, you can reach out to me directly at tammy.jersick@lawrensaz.org. And I hope you guys have a fantastic holiday.